Assalamu alaikum. Current lecture is about conditional mediation using Hayes process macro template 5. It is about the moderation of XY relationship or C prime with the help of a moderator, and in this example we are using designation, which is made of officers and staff members. So the research question here is that when an officer is placed into this cause and effect relationship of X on Y using mediator is different when it is analyzed with a staff member as the case for analysis. So the moderator will be computed as changing the indirect relationships of X on Y with the question that whether this interaction of X through M with Y remains the same on officer as well as staff member, or there are some differences. So we shall compute those differences and check out the role of the designation as moderator in changing the indirect relationships. The model 5 computes the effect by moderator, in our case designation, in the effect of X on Y. The assumption is that variation in moderator varies the effect of X on Y. In our example, moderator designation represents officers and staff members. The research question is, does designation change the effect of self-confidence on employee performance while switching from officer to staff as the case of analysis? The model shows that the variables we are using are self-confidence as X variable, organizational culture as mediator, employee performance as the test variable, and designation, as we have already said, will be used as moderator. So therefrom we go to SPSS and compute the statistics to test our hypothesis that whether or not change in designation changes the indirect effects of X on Y. To use model 5 by Hayes for computing the effects of a moderator on the C prime path or the relationship of X on Y using mediator as an indirect effect, we shall go to SPSS and use this database which we have already used in our previous videos. It includes self-confidence as the predictor, employee performance as the dependent variable, the organizational culture as the supporting or mediating variable, and the designation will work as moderator, which is the question of this analysis. So analyze regression and activate the process by Hayes. Then we shall give the variables to the system or to the process. Self-confidence will be placed in independent variable box, employee performance as the dependent variable or outcome variable are simply the test variable in this analysis. Organizational culture will work as the mediator, and designation will go to the moderator box. In options, we will select the total effect and fix 3 as the decimal places for the outputs, and finally we will select the model 5 and click. The process takes some moments to compute because of very lengthy bootstrapping. So here are the results. I have posted them on the slideshow. So let's go there to discuss them one by one with some clear visibility of the statistics we will discuss. The first output from the process model is always the descriptive statistics of the model used and the data as well as the variables. It shows that model 5 has been used. Y variable is employee performance. The predictor or X variable is self-confidence. Organizational culture has been used as a mediator and designation as a moderator. The sample size is 295 and this is the model, analytical model that will work in the computation of the statistics. Next, the first output in the background of connections between different variables. The first output is about the organizational culture, OC, and it has been predicted by X variable or self-confidence. R square is 0.45, meaning that 45% of change in organizational culture is coming from self-confidence. The result is significant as it is far less than 0.05. Similarly, the coefficient shows that self-confidence has a huge weight of 0.7615 in affecting the organizational culture. Further, this result is supported by the secondary statistics like T-score is 15.5, which is far greater than required 1.96. P-value is also significant within the range of 0.05. And finally, the lower and upper limits of confidence interval, they are also on the positive side. Therefore, there is no zero coming between the range. So, organizational culture has been significantly predicted or explained by the self-confidence, which is the X variable in this model. The next output is about the employee performance. Here, 3 variables and one interaction term, which is also a variable. So 4 variables has been used to predict employee performance. The R square is 0.59, which shows that 60% of change in employee performance is coming because of these 4 variables. And this result is significant because p-value is far less than 0.05. In coefficients, organizational culture has a huge weight, huge coefficient score of 0.415. It is supported by the secondary statistics as its T-score is 8.36, which is far greater than required 1.96. P-value is also significant, 0.000, and the lower and upper limits of the confidence interval, there are also on the positive side, so no chance of zero between the range. So organizational culture is significantly predicting or explaining the variation in the employee performance. As far as self-confidence is concerned, it is coming with negative coefficient. T-score is insignificant. It is far less than required 1.96. It is only 0.633. P-value is also insignificant, far greater than required 0.05. And likewise, the lower and upper limits of confidence intervals, they contain one score with zero sign. It shows that a 0 is coming between the range, because minus sign of one of the ranges gives the computation of 0 between the range. So self-confidence is insignificantly affecting the employee performance. Next, the designation, the moderator, it is affecting the performance negatively as well as significantly, because t-score is greater than required 1.96, p-value is significant, and lower and upper limits are coming on the negative side or minus side. Therefore, no 0 is possible to come between the range. Both values are on the same side. So designation is also affecting employee performance significantly but negatively. The interaction term, which is computed for understanding the impacts of moderator designation, interaction term is made of self-confidence multiplied by designation. So the interaction term is also giving huge coefficient score like 0.4121. It is significant. The t-score is far greater than required 1.96. p-value is also significant, and lower and upper limits of confidence interval, they are on positive side, so no 0 between the range. So the impacts of organizational culture, designation and interaction term are here, and they are giving significant results, both positive as well as negative. The final results from the process model are the direct and indirect effects, and obviously these are the results which are more helpful for the researcher to prepare for answering the research questions, whether or not the hypothesis has been accepted or not. The results are coming in conditional direct effects of X on Y. No effects of mediator are here, only the effects of X on Y, but conditioned with the designation. The results show that when the staff member is there, then the effect is minus 0.04, and the result is also insignificant. T-score is far less than required 1.96. P-value is insignificant. It is greater than 0.05, and in lower and upper limits of confidence interval, one score is coming with minus score, so which means that a 0 is coming in the range. So when there is the effect of designation as a staff member is computed, it is negative, it is insignificant. So it means that self-confidence of the staff members, it has no effect on their performance. But in case of officer, the effect is 0.3695. It is significant with 5.5 as t-score, which is greater than 1.96. P-value is also significant, 0.000, and lower and upper limits of confidence interval, both are with positive signs. Therefore, there is no chance of 0 between the two. So the supporting statistics is also saying that the impacts of designation as an officer are there and they are significant. And second is the indirect effect of X on Y through organizational culture. It is also powerful in terms of the effect 0.316, and it is significant as well because the lower and upper limits of confidence interval, they are with positive signs, so there is no chance of 0 between. So the effect, conditional direct effect of X on Y is 0.3695 in case of officer, while in case of staff member the results are insignificant and rather negative. And indirect effect of X and Y in the presence of organizational culture, it is also significant. So the total effect is around 0.6858. So the results have been computed, and the conclusion is that the designation as a moderator, it is working, because in case of staff member, self-confidence is ineffective or insignificant in affecting the employee performance. However, in case of officer, the moderator designation is working effectively, and the self-confidence of the officer is statistically significantly affecting the employee performance. So thanks for listening and watching the video. The coming video will be about the use of Model 59. So till that, Khuda Hafiz.